All right, today we're going to dive deep into one of the most disturbing and frankly complicated stories of our time, the dark world of Jeffrey Epstein. This is a story about unbelievable wealth, unchecked power, and a web of secrets that, believe me, is still unraveling as we speak.
You know, the whole story is really framed by its shocking end. The one question that just hangs over this entire saga is, how? How does a man with so many powerful secrets end up dead in one of the most secure jails in America?
So on the night Epstein was found dead, the official cause was suicide. But the details, well, they just don't add up. The security cameras outside his cell mysteriously malfunctioned. 2 guards were supposedly asleep, and he had just been taken off suicide watch. Is that just a string of unbelievable coincidences, or was this a calculated silence?
To really get how he met such a mysterious end, we've got to go back to his beginning, which is just as mysterious. Who was Jeffrey Epstein, really? And how in the world did he build an empire that gave him a VIP pass to the world's most powerful people?
His career path is just wild. Epstein actually started out as a math teacher at a fancy private school. But his real talent, it seems, was on Wall Street, where he somehow became this enigma who gained the trust of billionaires, like the owner of Victoria's Secret, Leslie Wexner. He managed their massive fortunes and, along the way, built his own.
And when I say empire, I mean an empire of pure opulence. We're talking about the largest private home in all of Manhattan, a sprawling 75,000-acre ranch out in New Mexico, a lavish apartment in Paris, and of course, the most infamous of them all, his own private island in the Caribbean.
This 72-acre property, Little St. James, became known as simply Epstein Island. And this was the absolute epicenter of his secret world. It looked like a luxurious paradise, but it was hiding a horrific reality. This is where the darkest parts of the story really unfolded.
So you might be wondering, how did his powerful guests get to this remote island paradise? Well, they were flown in on his private Boeing 727 jet, a plane that the media infamously nicknamed the Lolita Express, which is a chilling, horrifying clue about what was really going on.
Because see, Epstein wasn't just rich, he was incredibly well-connected. And those connections were his real currency. They gave him this air of legitimacy and created this powerful shield that made him seem completely untouchable. His inner circle was a literal who's who of global power brokers. I mean, if you look at the flight logs from his jet and his personal calendars, it reads like the guest list for some exclusive world summit. You've got former presidents Bill Clinton and Donald Trump, Britain's Prince Andrew, tech giant Bill Gates, and so many others.
And for some of them, being associated with Epstein has been catastrophic. Take Prince Andrew. He was forced to step back from all his royal duties, stripped of his titles, all after settling a multi-million-dollar lawsuit with Virginia Giuffre, one of Epstein's most prominent accusers. I mean, that is a stunning fall from grace for a member of the British royal family.
So this all raises a really terrifying question. When the FBI raided Epstein's Manhattan mansion, they found this huge collection of CDs with handwritten labels and intimate photos. So was he just collecting powerful friends? Or was he using these connections for something way more sinister, like blackmail?
Now, whether blackmail was the ultimate goal or not, what we know for certain is this. Behind all the glamour, the private jets, and the islands, there was a meticulously organized criminal enterprise built on the abuse of underage girls. And he absolutely did not act alone. Epstein was the architect of the abuse, sure, but his girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, was his essential partner in crime. She was the sophisticated recruiter, the so-called madam who allegedly used her high society status to lure vulnerable young girls right into their web. So how on earth did a criminal operation this big operate in plain sight for so long? Well, the answer lies in a justice system that for years seemed to protect the predator, not his victims. This timeline really shows you what a long, frustrating road it's been. It all started back in 2005 with the incredible bravery of Courtney Wild, who filed the first police report. But instead of facing serious federal charges, Epstein gets this secret plea deal in 2008 that basically buries the whole case. It took a decade and a bombshell investigation by the Miami Herald to finally expose the cover-up, which led to his rearrest in 2019. And that 2008 deal, people have called it one of the most corrupt plea deals in judicial history. It was negotiated in total secret by the U.S. Attorney at the time, Alexander Acosta, and it completely shut out the victims. What's worse, it didn't just protect Epstein,
It also gave immunity to his powerful, unnamed co-conspirators. And what was his punishment for these horrific federal allegations? Get this, a mere 13 months in a county jail. And during that time, he was allowed to leave for work release 6 days a week, spending most of his days back in his office. It was a complete slap on the wrist for crimes that destroyed countless lives.
Epstein's death may have robbed his victims of their day in court with him, but it did not end the story, not by a long shot. In a lot of ways, it was just the start of a new chapter, the fight to hold his enablers accountable.
And while Epstein himself escaped justice, his main accomplice did not. In 2022, Ghislaine Maxwell, the woman who recruited and groomed so many of his victims, was sentenced to 20 years in federal prison for her role in the whole trafficking ring.
Now, of course, no amount of money can ever erase this kind of trauma, but a compensation fund was set up using Epstein's estate. It's since paid out over $121 million to more than 150 of his survivors, offering at least some kind of financial restitution for the harm they suffered. The public outcry for the truth has been so huge that it actually led to a rare thing in Washington: bipartisan agreement. Congress passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act, a law that's forcing government agencies to start unsealing the mountain of documents tied to this case. But here's the staggering part, the part that shows just how much we still don't know. Even with all the recent document dumps, it's estimated that there are still over 1 million pages related to Epstein's case that are sealed from public view. The full story is far, far from being told.
You know, if there's one single lesson to take away from this entire ugly saga, it's this: power and money, they can build a shield. They can delay justice. They can buy silence for a while. But they can't make the truth disappear forever.
And that leads us to the final lingering question. With so much information still locked away, what powerful names, what dark secrets are still buried in those files, just waiting to come to light? The story of Jeffrey Epstein is not over. The search for the truth, it continues.